welcome to the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Kevin's eyes look insane, but he's got new hair. Virginia is a witch, and she farts in her chair. Jason is a spaz who's got an old man's ass. Welcome to the After the Show podcast.
Alrighty, hello and happy Valentine's Day. It is the KVJ show minus the V. Virginia's on her way back from New Orleans for Mardi Gras. She'll be back in here tomorrow.
No V, but we got plenty of D.
We got a lot of D.
Got a lot of D.
Had a lot of D today, and I loved it.
Me too.
Honestly, I gotta tell you, it's a lot of fun to have a lot of D on the KVJ show.
Anytime you get a producer Denny's in a room, no matter if a microphone's
Yeah.
on or off, it's a great thing. I'm excited to get Weird and Whatever going back again. That's gonna be fun.
No, people have been asking that. When is that going to start? Do you have any idea what's going to be on the first show?
Next Thursday, we are
Okay.
back and with the full squad.
Nice.
And we're gonna just be talking about just your update on my ghost situation.
Mm-hmm.
I know Vicky, our psychic medium's got some stuff to go over. Denny's random facts. We got a bunch of stuff to get into.
Okay.
I'm thinking about legit possibly getting rid of my Ouija board and certain things that like a not Vlad, but certain things that just make people uncomfortable. Ouija
Do you think
boards-
maybe you have a bad karma, juju,
I think-
aura,
Yeah,
air,
I think
spirits?
yes, and it's something
Yeah.
I've been feeling, and that's going to be a big part of what we talk about.
How long you had this Ouija board?
The Ouija board has been around since I want to say since our appearance at the wing place. Buffalo
Okay,
Wild
Jensen
Wings.
Beach. Yeah.
No, the second one.
Okay,
in
that
Wellington.
was Thanksgiving,
Yep.
right around that time.
Yep.
Okay, so that's not long.
No.
A couple months, and you think since then there's been a dark cloud that.
Personally, I don't think it's got anything to do with the Ouija board, but I just know that when people see it, they really fucking freak out. And I had one guy leave my house because he saw it, and not everyone thinks it's cute and funny like I do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sasquatch
Yeah.
North, my house is supposed to be a welcoming place.
I hear you. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
So I want to at least talk about that, the ridiculousness of people who believe in it or don't believe in it on either side. It's a very opinionated topic. Even you in Virginia, when I have...
Yeah, I don't mess with that stuff. I believe in the spirit world. I was raised, particularly, my mom was very much into that, about dark entities and spirits and demonic beings, and so it was beat in my head. But there's a lot about it that I feel. My mom would be like, my mom would have a thing. I think she was very spiritually in tune, that she would just get around somebody. She's like, I just felt an evil presence. I believe that. I've been in environments too where I was just like, man, I feel like something's not right here, man. I got to get out of this place.
And it's impressive when somebody makes a call like that and you don't see it coming. It's the one where I go, oh my gosh, that guy's got bad. I have spiritual intuition. He's got bad everything around.
Yeah.
And the guy's smoking meth and he's holding an axe and he's talking about murder. Well, it doesn't take a psychic to see that person.
Yeah, but it's sometimes it's not even. It's just a weird. Sometimes you have a premonition. I think some people have that. I
do too.
I know one thing you do talk about on your Weird and Whatever is I think there are gifts. I think that we all have different gifts. You have skills, but then I think there are spiritual gifts everybody has that. One person may be able to do this better, another person can do that, and some people it's just a gift that they were given. They are in tune to sensing those vibrations, whatever they might be.
And I think a lot of times people get kind of caught up in the terminology of certain things. And
Yeah.
maybe what that gift really does mean, maybe some people are better. I know I can get on autopilot. So if I'm on autopilot, I feel like I have blinders on. I don't see certain things I normally would see if I'm a little bit more dialed into something. And if there's spectrums on every types of behavior on the planet,
Yeah.
why would that be any different? Somebody that's just a little bit more in focus to something maybe someone on autopilot might not be.
Yeah.
And I also think maybe it's something we haven't dialed in yet, like electricity.
Absolutely.
It was always there. We just
Yeah.
learned how to harness it, dial it in. At least that's my perspective.
I got an email that it's going to take me a little bit more time because I want to go a level past what the email was, but I noticed a pattern. It was serial killers and their signs. What do they call that again?
They're
astrological signs.
Yes, I've seen that.
And I haven't seen it, but the one thing that the email doesn't do, I want to break down. I want to break down by sign because there was one sign that kept ding, 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 and I want to see if just the quick glance I took at this email is right. Is there an astrological sign that seems to lend itself to people that are known to be serial killers?
It's weird. Astrology and all that kind of stuff, it starts to lose me a little bit because as soon as you have one or more examples of it not following the criteria that it should, to me, it's now you're cherry picking a little bit.
I'm not sure it's an absolute, but it might be a factor you could look into. That there may be something about that. They've done all kinds of studies about what time of day you're born, what month you're born, all those kind of things, what placement you are in a family with siblings, and characteristics and traits that just subtly kind of start to come through, and you do start to notice little patterns on that.
And I'm open to stuff like that. I just don't like the blanket. Okay, you're a Taurus. Okay, that means you're...
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying on that. I agree with you on that. I think probably 85% of it's malarkey.
Yes.
But I think there's a lot of subtle little things that have happened in our life, in our environment, that are affecting us and who we are that we're probably unaware of how much of an impact it does have on our day-to-day behaviors.
Yeah, and just think about you yourself, you being a refreshed Kevin Ralston, in a good mood, uplifted spirit. Wouldn't you say if there were signs or any kind of, and when I say signs, I'm not even talking, it's almost kind of more philosophical than a legit sign. I just think you're in tune to things a little bit more deeper, and not you personally, but the human spirit.
I think everybody has stuff.
You see things a little bit clear.
I think we all have gifts. I think that we all have blind spots. I think every person is like that. And to me, one of the greatest gifts you can have as a person is understanding your strengths and weaknesses.
Self-awareness. Absolutely.
Self-awareness is very key to help guide you in life, in your relationships, your job quests, and everything else you do. So, yeah, I cannot wait until we get that back.
Kind of teasing a little bit with this convo.
Get me all ready to go here. Get me all ready, edging me on that.
Look, we always want you there. I want to do a one-on-one about it. Well, I'd like to do a Godcast with you. I like talking. Talking about religion.
Yeah.
I don't believe in all. I like learning about it, because it really does interest me.
Well, I mean, it's a very powerful influence in a large portion of the world's population.
Well, because people are fucking freaked out. We're born here. We show up, and we don't know. We're just going on what people are telling us. Oh, this is why we're here. Some people need more than that sometimes. They need to,
If you had to say to a divine creator, and you have to humor me that there is one for this conversation, one massive flaw and a question I would have is, when we were born, why is it not revealed what's going to happen when this plane ends? Because imagine how much different the world would be and how the history of mankind would have been if we would have had an absolute definitive answer as to what the other side is like. It would change how we live every single day we're on this planet.
And some people hear you ask that question and go, you are right, Kevin. I mean, there's got to be a playbook, or there's so much design. And then you talk to other people who go, I think it's just some bacteria that just all of a sudden shot out all this.
Right. But I'm saying you have to, for this question, the hypothetical, you have to acknowledge, okay, just to humor you, there is a God or divine creator. So why would that divine creator not let us know absolutely, without question? Be like, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're going to do this thing. You will die one day, but when you die, this is what's going to happen. And if there's a good and bad on the other side, then you need to live this way to get the good. If you live that way, you'll get the bad.
It is a bit abstracted sometimes, where you go, why are all these meanings so hidden, and why is there so much mystery?
Why'd you make it so debatable?
Yeah, exactly.
It's too fuzzy. It's too gray.
And I know people will go, well, that's where faith comes in, and that's where you. But it is, sometimes it's hard to get faith if the cheerleaders are wrong. If humans sometimes, if you don't trust humans in general, as a species,
Yeah.
and they're the ones giving you the message about the great beyond. Some people go, "Oh, I'm not going to trust it. I'm not trusting a cheerleader who doesn't know shit."
Well, we're in an era where nobody trusts anything
I know.
anymore. And so a lot of people, that's why you're starting to see the numbers for religion go down, because people are just saying, I don't believe any of it. I don't believe what anybody tells me on social media. I don't believe what people are telling me from behind a pulpit.
You are starting to see, at least I feel like you're seeing it as well.
Well, and I know there are people that are Christians and whatnot that might say, well, you're starting to see things in society when you start turning your back on God. This is some of what you get. And so that's why, to me, God, whomever it might have been, couldn't you have told us? Things would be going a lot better in our day-to-day if you just would have laid it out. Would have been nice.
And here's my whole thing is just this. All I want, you can play this mystery game with me as much as you want, but when I die and leave this rock, can I get some fucking answers, please?
You hope.
Please. And I say that with the most respect.
Yeah.
I just want some answers.
I think not really any of us want it to just go to black.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying you'll get somebody who's, I just want it over with. I get that mentality's out there, but deep down inside, doesn't everyone want to know what the fuck this ride is?
Yeah.
At least I do. I don't
Yeah.
know. When I started asking questions as a little kid and no one could
tough.
really give me answers, it started to freak me out.
It's beyond every human being. It really is.
It is.
I think that's why we fall to whatever our belief system is, because of what we can tolerate.
Because if not, we'll shit our pants with fear.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Danielle, she said, I know you guys were talking a while back about the KVJ bits that live rent-free in my head, but I think it's about 12 years ago, you guys all asked your partners to write up a review of how you each were in bed, and then have producer Heather read each of the critiques blinded without using pronouns so that you might not know whose review was whose, but it was so obvious with each one. Like Heather started reading, the sex is fine, it just doesn't last very long, and Kevin gives out this long sigh of defeat and frustration.
I remember that.
Virginia just started with Panda, and of course he gave her a 9.5.
Oh, yeah.
So predictable. Jaber wasn't dating anybody at the time, but his one of his ex-girlfriends talked about how sick she was about having Billy Joel always on in the background. Every review, especially the reaction and jokes from you guys about them, made me cry with laughter. Might be a good idea to do an update here soon. Yeah.
We can do an update.
Possibly could do that. It's not a bad idea. I do remember that. That was a fun bit.
I think that's good. When the people remember bits, guys, I would never have remembered that bit unless they emailed that.
Yeah. In fact, I saw him like, that's a great bit.
It really is. That's a
Yeah.
fun bit. So
Yeah,
if
we've
there's
done so much stuff.
If
That,
there's shit that you like that you're talking Wild 955 days, there ain't no way we remember every
Yeah.
day-to-day thing.
right, 12 years ago. And, in a sense, we're kind of like Taylor Swift because we've lost our original recordings.
We really have. You're right. You're right.
So we got to re-record some of our old classics because we don't own them anymore.
Now, there's some that we know we're never going to do again, like light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Oh, my gosh. We have so many shitty bits. There's so many that come to mind that I'm just like, oh, my gosh,
Or the
man.
karate-
What the hell were we thinking?
The karate tournament that me and you did live on the air. Virginia couldn't see what was going on, but still doing the
Terrible.
play-by-play. 2 studios.
So much. We took so many wild chances. I mean, we had a few home runs, but there were just so many misses in the course of that era. I mean, it was fun. It was crazy, but yeah. There's so many things that come up. I'm like, you just cringe. Like, oh my gosh, what were we doing?
Doesn't everybody do that with no matter what? Though,
I would
in
think
their
so.
career?
I would imagine, yes. No matter what you've done, you could probably be a banker and look back at the first time when, that time I was a teller and
That's what I mean. Everyone's got that story where you feel like a fuck face.
yeah, and you're just
Looking
like,
back on something you've done.
tough to look at. This is an interesting email here about how we saved a relationship. My girlfriend and I started dating on Valentine's Day of 2018, and we're expecting our first child later this year. And we both agree it's time to move forward. Given our 6-year anniversary, and tomorrow being the day of love, so they wrote this yesterday, it's today's Valentine's Day, I thought it was the perfect time to propose. So I plan on taking her to the beach, where we shared our first kiss, to ask the big question. After a day of pampering her, my friends have told me how corny that is, but she loves cheesy rom-coms, so I thought it'd be perfect. Well, here's where the problem lies. Yesterday during the show, Kevin mentioned proposals on Valentine's Day, and my girlfriend began talking about how cringy that would be and how basic it is. I was a little shocked by her response, but now I have to start back at the beginning, and I am grateful that KVJ saved me from the embarrassment.
I don't think going back to the first kiss is a bad idea.
Right.
That's good.
The thing she objected to was it's so predictable to do it on Valentine's Day. She doesn't want that. So maybe find or try to remember the exact day you had the first kiss and go back. You know, that might be a better play than...
You got to tell her everything about how you have to tell her this story as well after.
Yeah. I almost did this. Thank you. I'm glad you spoke up and said how cringy that was. So there you go. Saved today. Denny's made somebody cry today. Said Denny's Valentine's Day gift to his wife Jen, talking about maybe making her favorite dish, salmon, was one of the most thoughtful, best gifts to ever give to a new mom. I was in tears because I am going through the worst divorce right now. And so to hear that just really warmed my heart. And she said, you know what? I actually got the best proposal because my husband, it was New Year's Eve. We were at the Boca Resort right before midnight. He asked me to take a walk, walks me over to the golf course where I saw a table with about 3 dozen roses and a bottle of champagne. The fireworks start to go off. He gets down to one knee, pulls out a huge, beautiful ring and pops the question. But then out pops a videographer to capture the whole moment. The photos were amazing. But part of me now wishes that he never did that because he turned out to be a phony, abusive asshole.
Yeah, that's rough.
And now looking back on things, I think the proposal was just to show off for all his friends that we were with because everybody knew what was coming but me. And every day since he's made my life a living hell. So.
That can happen sometimes in life where it hits you. You go, oh, shit. I think he was doing that for the shine and not for the love. Because
right.
Look what I did.
Especially if they now.
Look what I did, guys. This big video.
Well, exactly. In today's era, I was talking yesterday, one of the proposals was the guy that did it at the movie theater. He puts up the video on the screen of him going to her dad and asking permission. And then she's like, oh, my gosh, she can't believe it. And then he drops to one knee. He then posts that whole video up on YouTube. And what was it, like 72 million views in 24 hours, something like that?
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, okay, he is an influencer. Did he do this? Like, if he didn't do that and didn't have his own YouTube channel that he cared about views, would he have done the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, you know for a fact it's from the heart when there's no camera around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. I know. So,
but everything's on camera now, Kev.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Another email about Valentine's Day. Speaking of giving Valentine's Day to your coworkers, we had that today, and it was kind of split. It was like 60 said no, but 40 were like yes, because it would be kind of cool to go around and drop a candy bar, a box of chocolate, something like that. But the thing we came to the consensus on, not a terrible thing, but you have to do the same thing for everybody. You can't go over the top for one person. And if that's the way you're going to try to show your coworker that you got the feels for them, today's not the day to do it.
If there was a girl that I like or a woman here at work that I had the hots for, and I only bought her a present,
it's out of bounds.
It's in 2024. I'm just on a strategy level. I guess my question would be, what the fuck you thinking?
No, I mean, yeah, there's a chance that like, oh my gosh, it's so great, I'm glad you did. But there's a chance that you don't. And now, look, if they felt weird, intimidated, stressed, they go right to HR and they'd have to address it.
I mean, depending on the company you work with or the industry you're in, some of us have HR brain on certain things, and that would be one of it. I used to date people I worked with all the time. I wouldn't even think about asking
it's
somebody.
It's a different era. It's a different time, and I think it's for a majority of companies. I think it's rare if it's not something that's constantly in your head, worried about that, because you'll get lawsuits and all that stuff. It's just we're in a different world these days.
You got to do the old-fashioned way. You got to meet them at the bar.
Yeah. Kimberly said, my 2 kids in elementary school came home with permission slips for passing out cards in a pizza party. My husband, who's a teacher, said, yeah, Governor DeSantis had passed a law that requires schools to send permission slips home to ask the parents if it's okay if their kid participates in whatever extracurricular activity is going on during school hours.
I mean, when we were kids, they didn't give a shit about none of that. They could give a fuck if you were offended by diddly dick. I think they did blow cigarette smoke in your face.
I think we had like one Jehovah's Witness, and like, what's up with you, man? Gosh, you're boring. And kids are like taunting the poor kid. You know, I mean, that's just the way it went. It all went down.
You always want a balance. You want to where you don't want to make fun of the kid that's that's different. You
Yeah.
also don't want to make it
Take away all the fun.
Take away the
and-
joy
yeah.
and the love.
I
There's
know.
got to be a fucking balance.
It is.
No.
It is kind of a weird thing, but I get why you'd have to do that. So.
But it just, I mean, good luck in 2024 on a strategy level.
No, you're right.
I'll tell you one industry I feel like they never got that memo is the restaurant industry. They are still porking and forking in the restaurant biz.
No, they are.
That goes on like crazy.
Yeah, I wonder how much that has
I don't know.
toned down over the last 20 years.
I don't know if it has. And maybe managers sleeping with people, but coworkers
Yeah.
on the reg.
Katie said, "What? No permission slip came home for my kid. Can we fact check this?" Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows. My kid is high school, so nothing. I don't know if they're doing anything for Valentine's Day, and I don't remember getting any kind of notes ever from any of my kids for something like that.
But you know, back in the day, you would give Valentine's Day cards to everybody, but you always gave us a little special one to your crush. Give a little extra
Of
candy.
course, yeah.
a little
That's
extra
how
heart.
you did it. Yeah, that's how you did it.
Man, those first crushes, those were tough because you don't know what as a kid having feelings for somebody.
Well, it was the opportunity. That would be in your third or fourth grade. That was the. Do you want to go steady? Yes, no, maybe so. Kind of.
Or
check the box.
Or just having a crush on somebody and you haven't talked yet, but you have a crush from afar, and then trying to figure out a way how to communicate and talk and try to get their attention as a little kid. That's some
It's a lot
heavy,
of pressure.
That's heavy shit for a
It
kid.
is. A lot of pressure. Well, we were talking about what is better, flowers or candy. We did a poll today. Flowers just edged out candy. I think it was like 52 to 48%, something like that.
Shocking.
So what do you think about this instead? You don't do card, you don't do flowers, you don't do candy. You come home with a pizza from Pizza Hut, and you change the box, and you cover up the hut part, and you add a T. And it says, "Let me get a pizza dat butt. Will you be my Valentine?"
I mean, it's awesome.
Okay.
And you should know if your partner's going to respond to that or not.
That's not a bad idea. If you're kind of doing it like low key. You come home with a pizza. Let me get a pizza dat butt.
Yeah, you would know if your mate would be into that kind of joke.
Yeah.
The
Cool idea. It's different.
It is. I love it. Does that mean also they want a piece of that butt?
I think so.
Yeah, I think
that's
does.
what happens. Yeah, you carb load and then.
I would do that part first and then eat the pizza.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think so. You gotta get out of the way because you don't feel sexy after you've housed half a pie.
Especially pizza.
Yeah,
It's
heavy.
It'll stick.
It's heavy. Denise, we were talking earlier about things you discovered a little late in life. She said, "I just found out Rice Krispies are actually made from rice."
Huh? Yeah, I guess.
Puffed rice, I guess it would be. Yeah. I never really thought about it, but yeah, it's one of those things of why do you not think more about Rice Krispies? I guess maybe I had learned it, maybe I dismissed it, but yeah, okay.
And not everyone makes Rice Krispies the same way. Some people make them kind of shitty. You'll eat them, and it almost tastes like crunchy air with a hint of sweetness. And then you could tell other people who put so much marshmallow, so many sweets, so much sugar. It's you got to go big on that one. You're not eating fruit. You're there to eat unhealthy.
Do
so go
you
big.
like when people put an M&M in a Rice
Yes,
Krispie treat?
I love it. Oh
Okay.
yeah, come on.
Yeah, I've had those, and after I had that, it was rough to go back to the original. I had, I think, chocolate chips, butterscotch chips in them. I've had M&Ms in them, and then after you go that route, I would just be like, "What are we doing here? You can't do just basic."
I'm with you on that. There's certain things where once you've leveled up like that, you can never go back. And then there's times you go back to square one. I've done that with Pringles. I've gone back to square one with Pringles, and the regular plain is better than the flavored, in my opinion. In my humbled opinion.
Look out! Good luck into your car today.
I know I'm talking to Pringles, to the one motherfucker who knows nothing about Pringles right now.
I grew up on the Pringles.
I know, but you
loved them.
You did love them?
Did love them.
Were you still eating
My
unhealthy?
grandma Buell always had them. Yeah, she always had them. So she always had those and oatmeal cream pies, and that was the comfort. Because keep in mind, I had no brothers and sisters, so it was me. So eating was the only fun thing to do, and we never had snacks in my house.
You can take, and I think this sounds familiar. You can take that oatmeal cream pie, and you can jam potato chips inside the cream pie.
Can you?
So when oh yeah, so you could do it with Uncrustables.
I never
as well.
did that because I didn't think it would ever come up. I never thought about that. And they were the smaller pies. I know that now they have the big ones.
If I can remember, I will show you how to jam Pringles into Uncrustables.
I would think the chip would break.
Like again, she don't look pretty, but she tastes beautiful. If that makes sense.
All right, I'd like to see it done.
Okay, with pride.
What's better, Rice Krispie treat or a Fruit Loop?
Rice.
Because you can make them with either. You can make them with different cereals, and that to me, I've seen them with. What was the Pebbles Bam Bam cereal?
Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles,
oh,
yeah.
the
Fruity
Cocoa Pebbles.
Yeah, you do Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles. I've seen different cereals. And I kind of said, yeah, why did we ever just stick to the Rice Krispie, which is kind of a boring-ass cereal? You wouldn't eat it by itself, so why wouldn't you lead with a better-tasting cereal?
And there's one that's pretty good, but you might have to dip it in a little bit of frosting, is the Tony the Tiger Frosted Flakes one.
Oh, okay. That would still be better. It should... On paper, be better than a Rice Krispie.
On paper, it should be, but I do recommend a little bit. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to go for. If you're trying to go to that next level, get some chocolate frosting and tell me
frosting on top of a Rice Krispie treat is fantastic. I mean, yeah, now we're really talking.
It's no way.
Fat kid Simon's getting excited now.
You can't sustain that lifestyle, but
no, you can't. No, it's not good. But gosh, it's fun. Gosh, it's fun. Yeah. Corinne said, what about a little Captain Crunch?
Oh, I mean, I'm a Captain Crunch lover. It just, my knock, it rips the shit out of your mouth.
I love the peanut butter, but would that play? Because, you know, you're talking now, the thing about the Rice Krispie, they are small and they do work fused together. You start getting into a peanut butter Rice Krispie kind of concept, has it become too big? Are the balls too big?
Yeah, and there's times, too, where you can over snack to the point where you feel like a monster. I mean, I had a sleeve of Pringles and under the whole sleeve of it. Like,
the tin.
By the 10th minute of watching Boy Meets World. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go, I'm a monster. Why are you watching a show from the late 90s?
Yeah.
Why are you eating so many Pringles at 10 o'clock at night? And again, why are you still watching Boy Meets World?
That show about kids?
Well, I mean, it's not about kids. Don't make it weird.
Pants on?
I had my pants. I don't know if I was not jerking off, but I do have our boss is right there. I did have a crush on Topanga.
Okay. I just want to get the full image properly locked into my head. What was going on there?
Well, sometimes things just come on the TV. You'll change it.
Including you. Another thing that somebody said today that they had learned later in life than they should was Amber Alerts. They thought that it was named after the color. And Craig said, yeah, the Amber Alert is named after Amber Hagerman, a 9-year-old who was abducted. It also stands for America's Missing Broadcast Emergency Response. It's not the color. So if you did not know, now you know.
And I won't do what Denny's did and go, that's hilarious. Remember you were talking Amber Alerts today? And all of a sudden.
It was such a, unfortunately timed
That's
comment.
Hilarious.
You're
reading about the Amber Alert. You're talking about the kid getting kidnapped. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know if it's hilarious.
I'm definitely getting a complaint email about this. There's definitely somebody that was offended by that one. Brianna, we were talking yesterday about being called Mama. Kaylee Cuoco had to tell her staff, don't call me Mama. They were calling her Mom after she had a kid. She's like, I didn't like it. And we found that, it depend upon who was calling you that and what placement and what time, some ins and outs. Found out that in Latin culture, it might be more prevalent. And Brianna said, I don't really mind being called Mama when somebody says it because I have my baby with me. But what annoys me and really pisses my mom off is when people randomly, like cashiers, etc., call her Mommy. Nothing to do with having kids. They just call us Mommy because I guess that's what they say in the Hispanic culture. But my mother and I are Black American. My mom only wants her kids to call her Mom or Mommy, not people old enough to be her own mother. She actually started telling people straight up, I am not your mother. Don't call me that. I don't like it either, especially when guys are like, hey, little mama.
Well, that's different.
It's immediately a turnoff, yeah.
To me, that's, alley cat behavior. You're being a little, hey mama, you're coming on.
I remember there was one time when my son Cannon was younger. We were taking him into the little section he went into at church, and the lady who ran everything, I think we had come in a little bit late. Like, you had to be there before they closed the doors. We were running a little bit behind. And she's like, I'm sorry, mommy. And she called my wife, just kind of like bent and snapped.
Yeah.
And she kept calling her mommy. And yeah, I remember the queen got twisted on her. It's like, stop calling me mommy. Not your freaking mom. She's like, well, I'm sorry, mom. And she responded with mommy. I'm like, all right, let me get the queen out of here.
Don't you love that?
Because something ungodly is about to happen.
When a family member does something public and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because you know your family better than anybody.
You can see it happen. You can see it ramping up. Yeah.
I can sense things with my own family.
It's all ramping up, and you just got to pull the hook out and be like, we got to go.
Yes, there's been times where I've brought a family member out at an event, and I could just see
you see it coming,
and sure as shit, a storm had hit. I'm like, fuck,
yeah,
you know shit about your family.
Yeah, so I do know that, and I think that sometimes people do use mommy in a condescending way, and that's what my wife felt like. She felt like the tone and the manner and the consideration to the environment going on, that she was in a way using it, you might as well call me fuckface.
Yeah, but the way the Kali Kalakla, what's her name?
Kaylee Cuoco.
Yeah, the way she presented that story was like the whole staff was calling her that because she had a kid. Yeah, which to me is different than alley cat. Hey mama, let me see them jugs.
Some moms have just said that they didn't necessarily want that to kind of be their primary identity. Yeah, I'm a mother and I love being a mother, but I'm still Kaylee first and foremost. I have a kid, but I just don't want everything to be mommy. That's not just all I am. So yeah, it was kind of eye-opening. That's why we brought that up yesterday. I was curious how many women felt that way, or was she just completely off base? And she's not. I think it's tone and temperament and timing and all that kind of stuff as to how you do it. It is kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, if you're being creepy about it, for sure.
Yeah, so just kind of be aware if you're using mama or mommy, your time and your context.
If you see me in Publix, though, come up to me, go, what's up, mama? I'm cool with it.
You love it, yeah. Call me Poppy. I'm good with it, baby. I'm good all day long.
Call me Poppy. Call me Mommy. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it all kind of works. Got a question here from Brittany. She said, absolutely love the show. I got into it because my husband used to listen on his way to school every day, and he showed it to me. Now I can't start my day without you guys. Thank you for always being an awesome start. Love you guys, and I got to ask, whatever happened to What Did I Lick? The game always had me dying laughing, and I miss it. It seems to have died after Jaybird licked the Band-Aid. Yeah, I think what it was, we have this thing where for a lot of things that we do, we always feel like you can't go backwards. You always have to go forwards. And there was a pressure to be like, okay, we got to top ourselves. And then when you're getting to bloody Band-Aids and things like that, you can go too far. And so I could tell we were starting to run out of things that weren't completely extreme. And sometimes you just have to have a reset so you can bring it back a little later and you can start back at a reasonable level.
Well,
because, yeah, things can get a bit too much where people are like, all right, you guys went a little too far.
It wasn't from me. I did not stop the bit at all.
It was my call.
Yeah,
it was me.
That is one of the more challenging things for our show because we are kind of like a vaudeville light.
Yeah.
We try to do, and we try to give good punishment, and there's sometimes where they come off lame and they're not extreme enough.
Yeah.
And to me, I'd rather look 17,000 bloody Band-Aids than to have something lame. So you always try to.
It has to be absolutely perfect. It can't be lame, but at the same time, that bit only works when you have the perfect item that's hysterical. It's still kind of cringy, but it's not like, all right, that's just, I can't do that. I can't do this show. And people will tune it out because they're like, okay, that's too much.
Punishments in general are tricky. Just trying to, we've been doing it for a long time and trying to, do.
Yeah.
So any suggestions y'all got for punishments, keep sending them our way.
Yeah, no, we do love the, look, if I had 10 of those perfect items for What Did I Lick, I'd bring it back this week. And I think as time goes by, what I do theoretically on a lot of those bits like that, I still have it. I think my prep sheet is about 120 pages. of just stuff that I have on there.
A Bible, if you will.
It's so long and it's crazy. And I always have bits on there that it's resting, but I'm adding to it. And then there will be a time where after it builds for a while, the ideas, I'm like, all right, we got like 10 what I think are pretty solid ideas to bring back What Did I Lick? And then we will. And then that's when you'll see it back. So yeah, if you guys do have any suggestions for that, I'll add them to it. And then when I think we've probably got enough to go 6 weeks on it. So if we get 6 to 12 solid ideas, we'll bring it back for a little season. Right, but I do love the bit. The bit was, when the bit's great, the bit's great.
Agreed.
But the bit was heading off a cliff.
Yeah, I'm more concerned when it's lame and not like.
I hear you.
Lemon juice, when Virginia lost something, she had to drink lemon juice. That's when I lost. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Typically, when the bit starts, we get more comments like, that's kind of lame. And then as the bit ends, it's like, all right, I had to tune you guys out. I'm never listening again. It was too far.
And then we go,
you guys are animals.
And then we go, what are we doing this for?
Yeah, it's usually how the course of the bit goes. It starts on the lame level, and then it goes up, and then it hits that peak of, gosh, it's so good, and then it's just over the top, and then now you've lost me. So that's where it is. That's why it's resting, but one day I hope that it will be back.
I do like the people bringing up stuff, though, especially our old shit. I didn't even remember that bit.
No, it's a great bit. Absolutely.
The one you were talking about earlier about producer Heather reading off our love making stylings.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we could definitely bring that back to the table and do that again. So if there's something from an old period, always let us know. That's why we do this after the show. We love to hear your voice and get your thoughts on what you want us to be doing on the show. Always send us that email, mail@kvjshow.com. Virginia, back tomorrow. Full strength on the KVJ show. We'll see you back here then. Goodbye.